Hello, everybody. It is Straight Talk Food for the Soul. Happy Mother's Day to everybody that'll be popping on. I have some of my favorite people on today. We got the Pitts, Carl and Crystal Pitts. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves after. We're going to have Mr. Carl pray us in. Then we're going to get started, y'all.
All hearts and minds clear. Father God, we thank you for another opportunity of fellowship. We thank you for another opportunity to learn from each other. We thank you for another opportunity to give you glory, to give you the praise that you deserve. We thank you for this moment. We ask that everything that you want to hear, everything that you want to be said, Father God, come out of our hearts, come out of our minds so we can bless your people. We thank you, we love you, we need you. In King Jesus' almighty name, amen.
Amen. Amen. To our guests that have already popped on, I want y'all to introduce yourselves. Tell them where they can find you, the name of your business, whatever you want to tell the people.
They can find us in this car. We be running.
We live here.
We live in it. And they're gonna say that, but they be like, I knew it. But Crystal Pitts and
Carlton Pitts, hey.
hey, and we do a little bit of everything. Our vision is to help make your vision crystal clear. We got a lot of things in the works, but web design, graphic design, social media, just really helping people understand that they can have it. I would never put in a box the different things that God has given us the opportunity to do or to use through the works of our hands. But the biggest thing is if you have a vision on my side, we can help make it crystal clear, because I don't care where you come from. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you did. If God called you to it, he'll give you the power to be able to have you to be able to execute it. So yeah, but book publishing, web design, graphic design, and a little food service. We got a little something coming down the way with some food service. So we go. That's for the next announcement for the next one. But Carl, what you do?
Uh, with my bachelor's in set design, I do a little bit of everything in regards to the entertainment industry. As far as setting up stages, running mics, running sound, running lights, creating an entire set for you. Pretty much everything. Also singing, songwriting, a little bit of photography, videography. I'm loving that as well. And people like my voice. So besides that, yeah, I guess anywhere in the entertainment industry, I'm here to help you situate and get it set up and get it broken down.
Well, y'all, I'm just going to have to say, these are just like my children. Everybody say, you got a lot of kids. I surely do. I have a lot of children. I have a lot of people that call me mommy because I love to love on people who may not have, or because I didn't always have my mommy. So that's why I have a lot of babies. And my baby is about to have a baby. So we're saying congratulations right now because we're
Thank
excited.
That's
And
the belly rub.
I'm
July
going to
21st.
call out Crystal and Carl now because they're going to help me hone my vision for Straight Talk Food for the Soul. So all the new stuff is coming. They're a big part of it. Mr. Carl is going to help me write my song for Straight Talk. So
Yep.
I want you to know that they are amazing at what they do. So every week, y'all, I have a question of the week. And since this week, our theme is love is a choice, my question of the week is, do you still date your spouse? So I want y'all to give your answer before you tell them your origin story. Do y'all still have to date each other?
Whew. Yeah, it wouldn't work without it. Because I drive him crazy.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
Banana nut bread. How you say banana butt
I
bread?
don't know. Banana nut bread.
Thursday is date night.
She don't just drive me nuts. She drives me bananas and nuts.
So you
Banana nut
see
bread.
that gray hair?
Exactly
That
what
gray
it's
hair
about.
that's right there. It's just because when you're a visionary,
Yeah.
I'm up when he's sleep and he's sleep when I'm up. So but Thursday is date night, but you have to. Um, I guess when I'll go first, you have to. Um, Love is a choice, and there are so many things that try to come against marriages. Um, there's so many things that try to come against our mind, and oftentimes it's so easy to be bottled down and burdened with life, responsibilities, other people, other people's problems, And we all go through something, but you don't want your spouse to be buried in the midst of that. And if I've learned anything through this journey, especially with the move and everything, you have to stop and make time. That Carl's the lover, I'm the fighter, and I'm going to let him speak on his part. But you got to stop and take that moment for each other, because if you don't, you'll always say, I'm going to make the next moment and the next moment and the next moment, and before you know it, those moments are exhausted, because we're living at a time to where today it really isn't promised. This world going crazy, people been crazy, people be people and God be God, and then Negroes be Negroing. But in the midst of it, I didn't say N-I-G, Negroing. I pronounced that syllable correctly. But because people cut up, they shooting people in traffic and stuff like that. So you got to make that time, because you can buy a watch, but you can't buy more time. So Thursday is date night, because no matter how busy the world get, you got to understand you can't be too busy for the one that should be your world. So
on the other side of that, right? Time is the most important thing that you can give to anybody, God and your spouse. That's really the most valuable thing that we do have. But also, we're growing. Like, this isn't the same person that I met, 10 years ago?
yeah.
I'm not the same person that she dated. So in order to really know her, we got to date. In order for her to really know me, we got to date. Because a lot of times, you don't want to just sit there and be like, man, where did the years go by? Sometimes we get distracted, quote unquote. Sometimes we get distracted with everything else we got going on in life. So she might change, and I don't want to sit back and be like, man, who is this person now? So we go on. We go on these dates. I try to make her smile as much as possible. I'm always singing to her.
Right.
We used to we're gonna bring freestyling back, because we used to hold hands and freestyle to each other. So I think we're gonna bring that back. I've been in my heart. So I think we'll start doing that again. But yeah, this is my best friend. It took some time. She had to.
It took some time.
God had to beat me up. They said, if a man, any man out here praying for wisdom, wait till you get you a wife, and then you're gonna be mad, because God will speak through whatever you love. That's it. And she's definitely speaking through her. God will speak through whatever you love. That's how he talks to us. But yeah, he's definitely be talking to her. Do I want to listen?
Speak the truth.
I mean,
I'm gonna come back and sound like
we're
this.
all getting better. We're all getting better.
So I had some people who answered the question. My auntie, all the way in Baltimore, Maryland, has been married over 20 years, and my auntie's younger than me, y'all. And she did that thing, and she stuck together. But she said, you never stop dating your spouse. The same thing it took to get what you have is the same thing it takes to keep it. Keep your marriage alive, spicy, and fulfilling. And then Mother Williams said yes. And then my daughter Jada, of course, says yes. Never stop dating. Look, she don't even have no husband, but she's speaking into existence, I guess. And then she says, what you did to get him is what you do. Keep falling in love. And then my baby sister came on and said, yes, you have to date your spouse. So we need your origin story. First, we want to say hello to Crystal, to Rosalind, to Elijah, to my children that have popped on. Hello. Tell us how y'all met.
Oh, in the choir.
Yep. Sunday night choir in Savannah, Georgia.
Before we even had Jace, I think he was there first, and
was I there first?
I think he was there first.
I thought she was there first.
No, you was there first. Okay. You're a little bit slimmer.
We noticed each other. I wasn't a little bit. Well, but we noticed each other there.
The choir. Savannah. I'm a Savannah Peach.
I'm a military brat. I've lived everywhere. My dad, he ended up retiring in Augusta. Then moved to Savannah, and I realized I need to get in school. Moved to Savannah, and of course, always keeping God first. I had to find me a church, and then the missus was there in night choir. I didn't talk to her because I didn't want to date at church. I wanted to keep my space sacred. Not saying that I was super sanctified and saved, because your boy was out clubbing, which is why I was out there in the night choir anyway, because I didn't want to get up, but God went with me. I didn't want to get up and go Sunday morning, so I went Sunday night. Of course, I got into the choir because I love to sing, and yeah, I didn't want to talk to nobody. So she gonna be like, he didn't say nothing to me. I hear that all the time, but
So Jace had got burned. Fast forward, we met in the choir. We've been singing together for probably 2 to 3 years, and I was in the midst of I was married at the time, but we wasn't talking when I was married. You know, hey, this ain't about to get juicy. But Jace got burned. Jace, my little jumping bean, his 50% of his face got burned off, and it's you never know the strength of your marriage until something is tested. And within 3 months, 4 months, it fell apart because finances went to shambles. Career, you can be the first one and last one out, but as soon as you have a problem, some of these jobs, they'll tell you got 5 days and go see counseling. And I prioritize my son. That's why I refuse to work for anybody now. But that's a conversation for another day. And once me and his father didn't work, I was, what was I? It was a Facebook emoji, Facebook meme. Carl used to have this thing. Jason's father had left me at the time. We was in the verge of the midst of the divorce, and there was this emoji, this meme on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
She asked the origin.
Go ahead.
So it was this meme about pooping. Carl used to have this thing to where he made announcements.
Anytime that I had to poop, I didn't care where I was at. I know it's awful. I have horrible bathroom humor.
It is awful.
I would post it on Facebook and be like, hey, pooping in Kroger, a kid walked in, almost threw up, and I'll be bad. But
he was that guy.
It would be bad.
So I
be
never
bad.
tried or said anything to him. And when I got on I was sitting at the house that day. I think I just dropped Jace off because we were still split like we are now. And I saw this weird little thing on my timeline, and I saw his bubble on. So I just shot it to him because everybody in the choir was wondering where I was. And this guy was like, oh, what's up? I know, because you don't slide in nobody's DM.
Yeah, I knew she wasn't that type of woman. I knew for me, it was actually a church trip. And my brother-in-law, me and him were talking about wives and what do you look for when you're looking for a wife. And my brother, he told me, he said, I want you to think about all the women that you admire. Think about all the women that you hold dear. And think about the things that you need in a wife. And then ask God to show you. Ask God, create that image in your mind. And then ask God to show you where that was at. And I knew Crystal didn't play. I had already seen her in her marriage life, and I seen that she was a good woman. She was a good wife. I had no idea about what was things to come. But when I sat back on the bus one day, she walked down, I was like, you know what, God? Something like that. I want something like that because I know she didn't play. She didn't play. Not asking for her because I knew she was married, but I was like, I knew how she carried herself. And I was like, you know what, God, I want something like that. And randomly, I knew when she sent me this emoji, I was like, no, she doesn't do this. This is not her. This is not her MO.
I didn't slide in his DM.
She sent him a DM, y'all.
I ain't sliding.
With a poop emoji. And I was like, God, this is it. I was like, this gotta be the one right here, Lord.
So I kept having to take Jason to the Augusta Burn Center. I was on the verge of losing everything and my mind. I wanted to commit suicide, homicide, every other type of side. Kill him with pesticide. Not Carl, the last one. We get along great now. The crazy thing is, y'all may not love his choice, and we didn't choose each other, but me and his father get along great now. So we're the best of besties. Oh, yeah. But Carl ended up being a support factor. It wasn't one of those, he came to my house, didn't come to his house, but he would always call and check up on me. He's like, hey, you good? Because I wanted to go to the Air Force, and my sister, she was like, you know what? If you're going to call it quits, don't run, don't leave. You got a son here. And they told me it was going to take 18 months to heal my baby. God healed it, and God healed Jason 6. 50% of his face burned off, and today you would never know. And Carl finally asked me out for a date, and I thought I was the side piece. I thought I was the sideline, because Carl used to date these choir girls, or these other girls, and them skanks and scoochies and coochies. They was a little hood rich.
Lord have mercy.
If we could be real, because sometimes they don't want the polish. They want the.
One of them was definitely crazy, but we're not going to go there. It's about us. It's not about us.
Anyway, he invited me to this Christmas party, and I thought I was the rebound.
Our first date.
I had a $15 wig and a city dress dress, and Carl was an hour late. And I just knew I got stood up. My Jace was with my brother, and they was like, you going on a date? I said, no, I'm going to a Christmas outing with a guy that's nice. They was like that singing choir boy. And the little girl that he had just she dumped, however, she came walking by, and it was over. You know how it is, the little beautiful princess, because I was broke, busted, disgusted, and I had a quarter tank of gas. And I said, Lord, it's best I got. And he was just a gentleman. You know, because us girls, sometimes we ain't used to having the good men that open the doors for you and sing to you. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what to do with this because I got issues. And it started raining. And then what happened from there, Carl?
Well,
You
everything.
got to finish the story.
It was, I mean, yeah. Oh, it started raining. It started raining, and I walked into the car, took off my good jacket, put it over her, kissed her in the rain.
In the rain.
In the
Wow.
rain. We ain't had no umbrella, so I took off my
No
good
umbrella.
jacket and helped her, carried it over here so we could walk to the car together. I didn't want her to get wet.
That wig did not frizz. It didn't.
And then we had our first kiss in the rain. I was like, all right, perfect. Oh, a little movie magic. All right, guy, I see you. I see what you're doing.
And then from there, if this is what you call dirt, I done did some dirty dirt. You done kissed me, Jesus. But I knew it's like sometimes when God, I'm not saying that God will let you meet somebody while you got somebody. It's like sometimes you're not looking for love and it finds you. And we ended up going through with the divorce. My father died, and I vanished from car. He kissed me, and I disappeared. I vanished. I quit returning his calls, texts, emails. I don't think I blocked him on Facebook, but I got ghosts, and I ain't talking about the Holy One. And and he waited for me. And my daddy died. I just seen my daddy, and I knew that me and his dad didn't work out. And my father died. I think I got divorced in April, and my father died. And everybody that's in your DM, everybody that want to be with you until something major happened. And when I looked up at the funeral, Carl was in the back, the only one. Everybody else tried to shoot their shot because nobody, they was like, Crystal ain't gonna be free. Crystal's one of those, once you get her, you keep her. And when I looked up at my father's funeral,
She didn't want to give me the address. I kept texting her. I kept trying to figure out how to call. I think
he was blocked.
I think her sister told me where everything was at. No, it might have been Kwame. Kwame, her brother, might have told me where the funeral was at. And I was like, all right, I know I got to be there. So I made sure I was sitting in the back, all that, waiting, just trying to be there.
So
and,
death bought life. It was so many. Part of me died that day when my father left, but a part of me began to live that day when I saw something that I never thought I could have standing in the back. And literally, probably a couple of days later, we went on our first official date, and he met my mom. My mom was living at the time, and he came out singing and dancing and prancing and became the life of the party. And my mama looked, and she ain't like nobody, because my mama tried to run everybody over with her truck. Kill, Injure, Murder. It stands for Kim's Cafe now. Kindness, inspiration, motivation. But back then it was Kill, Injure, Murder. And she was still here today. It still be Kill, Injure, Murder. And he came out the car, and she was like, "That's your husband right there." I said, "Him?"
Her mom loved me. I miss her.
Loved him. And he was just sitting there dancing and serenading. And we've been stuck together ever since. You know, we didn't always like each other.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you date. You gotta date. It helps smooth that on over, kids, to bring it back. Which is why you gotta date. Because some days, trust me,
you gotta keep it real.
It's a job. It's something that you gotta work on. It's a vehicle. Like marriage is not it's not for the lazy. Like you really gotta, you really gotta put it your all into it. You gotta be forgiven. Like everything that's in the Bible, like you really gotta be forgiven. He gives you the instructions.
And when them indicator lights come on, you gotta check it. If you would pull over when that check engine light come on, or when that gas light come on, when your gas light come on in your marriage, you better stop and get a refuel. Because if not, you're gonna be broke down on the side of the road, and somebody else is gonna pick up your mate.
Again, there's so many other distractions out here.
It's the truth. That's why marriages don't work nowadays, because we don't pay attention to the check marriage light. But then somebody else checking what you didn't do. Everybody wait to be a technician.
Too busy looking for
and
something else.
And then come screw some stuff up.
Else.
Yeah, they will.
Mm-hmm. You don't see what's going on your side.
I'm like, we ain't gonna make no more of these lies.
Am I afraid or not?
You gotta keep it real. Because somebody's always lurking, waiting for the opportunity. So you better be the next opportunity for your mate before somebody else try to create one.
Somebody want what you got.
Because if you don't pay attention, so we always pay attention to the great days. But if you don't pay attention to the red signs, because you got to realize you got green lights and you got red light. Red light say stop and pay attention. Green light mean go. And oftentimes we don't pay attention to the traffic signals that's in our life. There's love language, but there's traffic signals. And when things are red, you got to stop. Sometimes you got to shut it down. Shut that business down. Shut that ministry down. Shut your family down. And say, hey, what's up? Because if you don't, somebody else just ding. You know that hate stranger, that person that you ain't seen since high school. They was a butterhead back then, and now they all they fine and sexy, but they crazy. You don't really, because people will mess up your stuff, but you don't realize you caused the problem first. You know, people can't take what you didn't create. You leave that man out there. Mama said don't let the man leave the house hungry or horny. So if you ain't fed him, somebody gonna come and feed him. So, what? This is a real life.
Your nephew, EJ said, "Stop it, Auntie.
Get out the room."
It's the truth. And when you get older, nephew.
I do have a question.
Somebody gonna feed him.
So, Carl, how did you know how to love her like that?
God. I hate to sound cliche. In anything that I do, as radical as I am, in anything that I do, I knew that if I didn't know what it was, I can always talk to God and he's going to tell me. But I always make sure, no matter how I'm handling something, especially if you don't see results, and at first I did it, but if you don't see results, go to God and he's going to give you the answer. Now, are you going to listen? That's the main thing. But I sat there and I prayed. I was like, God, I want this to work. I want to break curses in my family. I don't want just to have what everybody else had. I want this to be different. And you sat there and you told me that this woman's for me. So, because on the tough days, so you got to tell me, how do I love her? Help me love her better. Help me treat her, but help me understand her. Help me to truly know her instead of just, going through the motions. I feel like a lot of us are just going through the motion. And he showed me. And again, through dating, because you got to spend time. That's the only way that you get to know God is you spend time with God. The only way I get to know my wife is I spend time with her. And I have to spend and truly listen to her and hear what she has to say. And if you're a smart dude, you'll be able to figure out what is what she's saying really correlating with what she's saying, or she's saying that just, to be quiet, to not talk about it, or is she really going through something. And it's just prayer and just listening.
Now I'm gonna read the scripture. And so you can tell the scripture correlates what and we haven't had no conversation in reference to the scripture. But the scripture is love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. And when y'all are talking to each other and y'all have this banter, that is what's in my mind. Because when y'all are over to the house and y'all sitting down and we eating and Carl's on the bed somewhere snoring and we're around.
That's right.
After he done ate some of our greens.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
the itis.
But that y'all have that kind of banter. And y'all love reminds me of that. And as much as I've been around y'all, it's been frustrating because y'all have been rushing and been doing something, but y'all not at each other. And that's the footprint that y'all leave with me when y'all leave my house. Or we've done something together. That is the footprint that you leave with me, that y'all not at each other. And I see a lot of married couples, y'all together all day because y'all work together.
Yeah, we're together all day.
All day.
So, okay, tell us, because I had the Mitchells on a week or so ago, and they work together. How is it that you don't let it spill into your marriage? Job. How you don't let your business spill into your marriage? Because then y'all wake up together, y'all go to sleep together. Your car is literally sometimes where y'all taking a nap, ripping it up or down the road. Tell me.
We in the car now.
We know, because y'all are on the road and y'all knew this was an assignment. Y'all stopped in a quiet place to complete the assignment. So how is it not you don't let it pour into your marriage?
I think my side is it's understanding the ministry aspect of it. So I don't look at anything that I do as a business, because I know the footprint to where it was foundational, where it was laid. And you got to have a man that's receptive that's not selfish with his love of sharing it with others. So I say that in saying it's, of course, we have our morning. He gets up with prayer, breakfast, and things like that. And then he has his gym time. He'll talk about that part because, don't mess with his gym time. Carl got to get it right and get it tight. And I'm like, you know what? I see it, baby. I see it. but for me, and I think the biggest part is this came with time now of him understanding my desire to just help people. And when you have a man that is willing to help people and serve people, then it doesn't look as if it's a job. You see what I'm saying? It's like when you understand, when you can come together on one accord and understand that we're together trying to be a blessing, or together we're trying to make a statement. Now, even though we do different things in certain capacities, there's been times where we had to learn, we served each other, we served others. And it's, if you look at life as ministry, then there's that moment to where you're doing ministry, because ministry isn't just the pulpit or the church. Ministry is going to the prisons. Ministry is the people that we interact with at the restaurant. Ministry is the people that he sit right there and ministers to in the barbershop. You never know what somebody's dealing with, but all day after a certain cutoff time in the morning, we're dealing with God's people. The lovable, the unlovable, the touchables, the untouchables, the kind and the nasty, because there's some nasty saints and there's some lovable ain'ts. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just because everybody profess Christ don't know Christ. Just because you know the hymn don't mean you know him. And all day we're interacting with these people, but our purpose is to make their life better than what it was. So if you have that understanding of we're sacrificing for this, then we have just set times to where we know this is where we cut this off. He about to play his Call of Duty. I'm going to go to sleep after I done made a mess. So I probably done fell asleep with the pizza or the ice cream bowls or something in the bed or something if we home. Because I eat and nap, or I nap and eat, or the food eat me while I'm napping. It is what it is. But we know when to cut it off. But during the day, that spillover time is when you genuinely love people and you genuinely serve people, it's a part of your marriage. Because if for me to learn how to love him, and for him to know how to love me, then you're going to have to understand how much I love others. Because if you with somebody that hate people, and you'll know how much your mate loves a person when you go out, like when you go to restaurants and stuff like that. Some of the nastiest people you can meet in a restaurant because of how they treat the server and things like that. So as we interact throughout the day, we learn more about each other, because, and I think he used to always tell me, he's like, I didn't realize you love people so much. But when you grow up in an environment where you're hated, he learned that I love, and we just learn how we love people all day. To be honest, it get us in trouble sometimes. Sometimes we get overextended. Sometimes But when you love people for real, you don't look at it as a burden, because a part of your marriage or a part of your calling is loving on people. That's just for me. My side is. Yeah. So it was like, once he realized how much I love, because some people do stuff for show, some people do stuff to build, to get God's glory. Some people do it because of GP. Some people want to do it to make it seem, but when it's a real natural calling, we serve people all day and then we know when to cut it off. Or he'll tell me, hey.
Sometimes we gotta reel it back. Say, baby, that's not the one. You gotta bring it on back. There's I truly understand her calling and what it is that she's supposed to do, and no matter where we go, somebody's gonna know her. Somebody is gonna run. And I thought it was only in Savannah because that's where she grew up, but now it's down here now too. So now somebody's gonna know her. So there's gonna be somebody that she's helped. So I understand that I do have to share my wife because of the calling that she has. But the other side of that is, like she said, we know that, okay, I'm gonna go doing my thing, whether it's playing video games, whether it's me going to the gym, or just us, taking some time apart and really, meditating, praying. She'll be in there reading the word or something like that. It's just understanding that, again, we have to keep time in order. We got to keep time in check. So it doesn't necessarily bleed over or anything like that.
It blends.
Yeah.
Y'all are the first couple to ever say that.
We have this little baby bear right here. Yeah. So he keeps us in order.
Everything happens to be I don't know. I won't say it happened naturally. No, it definitely took time. I guess it feels natural now, but everything is usually
it was hell at first. It was hell at first. It wasn't like that at first. But at the same time, he seen my mom pass. He seen my father pass. His sister we found deceased in the house unexpectedly. We went through this ripple of blended families. I mean, it took time, but in the midst of that, what kept us together was love and loving people. Because sometimes other people, God will send other people in your life that's going through similar or worse situations, and how you're able to express that love. They teach you how to love again. Because sometimes hatred can fill your heart. And you can take that hatred out in your household. You can bring other people's problems, other people's burdens or life into your house, and it can cause a rupture. But sometimes God will send somebody in a situation in your life and see how you serve them, how you love them, how you treat them, and then it brings you back and be like, man, what we got ain't that bad. You know, you got people out here beating on each other, cheating on each other, cutting each other, putting each other in body bags. I mean, black eyes.
Yeah.
It's just it's always something worse. The grass ain't green on the other side because some of that stuff is planted. It ain't even fertilized now. It's just you could just buy it. With AI, this grass is artificial. You just speak to your grass and it turn green.
Oh my God.
But I think we went through more situations of seeing other people that had it worse. And then when God slows you down, and I really believe that's why he moved us, because my mom passed and then Bishop kept speaking the word, and the Lord knows Bishop House don't miss. So that's a conversation that everybody knows. He don't miss. So when he speak it, you know, and then I had to learn to slow down. So when I ruptured my Achilles, that was the first thing, just walking. And then this baby, it was just like, girl, you got to slow down and learn how to be dependent, you know, because sometimes if you're so independent and they're not a part of that, I think that's where it shifted. It took a fall for us to stand up.
I think that did, yeah.
You know,
because every man, we want to be able to help. We want to be able. We're so used to being the ones that help or build or help create or help grow. So when there's times when you get a strong woman, and there's times where you might feel like, well, what am I here for? What am I truly here to help you build? Am I truly here to help you grow? But you have to sit back and just you have to give people time. Give people time to grow. Like don't push it so much to the point to where my advances or me wanting to help actually turns her away. Like
and vice versa.
Or vice versa. I had to give her time to not carry her through her storm, but hold her hand as she walks through it. You know what I mean? Like it couldn't just be me trying to push her. Come on, get up. No, she's a full grown woman. It's not me. Yeah, I have to be there by her side. Like it's the rib. It ain't the, like, you know what I mean? We're side by side in this. But yeah, God is still teaching us a whole bunch.
We're still learning.
We're still learning.
So whenever we drop, we just hit a certain nerve. You know, we're gonna go to Dave and Buster's. You know, I can't have a little sippy sip no more. But I can sip some Arnold Palmer. You know, but we can we have our stuff. I think our thing now is songwriting, freestyling. We have things that make us us. He's like the lyric. We can complete each other's lyrics now, and they're not hate lyrics. So it's blending. It's like, but that came with learning each other. But something you learn each other through dating, and you learn each other through life.
Yeah.
Because you got to see how your mate treat other people and how you interact with other people. So,
or how situations that you couldn't plan for. How are you gonna react? Like everybody loves each other in that bubble phase, but you don't truly know somebody until something bad happens and they're getting mad. Can she still be with me when she sees me mad or upset or down or depressed? Or because it's life, you're gonna go through some of these emotions. And can I still kick it with her when she goes through that? And life is really gonna test you, and you better hold on.
You gotta pass that test. You ain't gonna make an A every time, but as long as you get a 70, you go to the next grade.
Right. So you don't repeat. Exactly.
That's C stand for Christ.
You stupid. C's get degrees.
C's get degrees.
I don't look. Y'all done messed up my little question. I just have to say I have the little scripted questions, but y'all done messed up my little questions.
It was called.
No, it was Crystal. But we want to say hello. It must be some friends of yours. Odom popped on. My auntie's on. Sister Faulkner's on. Shalise is on. Minister Shelley popped on. Ro is on. Hello, everybody. If I missed your name, please don't charge it to my heart. I have a question. In marriage, are there deal breakers?
In marriage, are there I mean,
yes.
and in the most extreme cases, yeah, like he leaves.
He ain't about to hit me.
Right.
In one punch.
I'm sorry. If he's leave,
Yeah, it's sad.
he
You
don't
know,
love you.
It's certain things. Love is unconditional, but it's certain conditions that we
There's
ain't supposed to
certain things,
tolerate. You know,
right.
some of this, certain things are just, this ain't not give you a buck. This ain't give me a black eye to win love the next day. No.
If it's toxic and harmful to your health, do not drink it. Like, just leave it alone.
Don't touch me. Don't touch my kids.
Right.
You ain't about to be hanky panky with son
Right.
or daughter,
Right.
and you ain't about to put these hands on me. So that's number 2. Anything else you can work past. And I ain't about to say come out here and screw Mary and Sue and Tom. People got their choices and their preferences nowadays, but it's certain things you can work through. I don't want to go through something like adultery or anything like that, but you can't hit me and you can't touch my baby.
Right.
And I ain't talking about a whooping, because sometimes you got to tear that behind out of the frame. I'm talking about some people out here touch, people churn. And there are people that love somebody so much that they create damaged kids by not listening to them when they say the one that you love so much is doing things to me. So those two are we ain't coming back from it.
But out of that, anything else, I mean, only you know how much your heart can take. And if God tells you to stay, if the Lord tells you to stay,
He ain't telling me to stay through them two.
Right, through those two, yeah.
Okay, so if it's not them two, because this is going into my name, if it's not them two, because I've been divorced twice.
Oh, then we can.
If it's not them two, is divorce off the table if those two things don't happen?
I think it's whatever your standard is. Because the main thing after that, what comes to mind for me is cheating. Now, some people would stay if they know that their spouse is a cheater. But again, I think that's what God is telling you to do, and what is your heart telling you to do. And the reason why I say it is because of what God tells you to do, is because you never know what He can make a testimony out of. So I don't know. I don't know why God would want you there. But if you earnestly hear God say stay, and He's telling you to stay through cheating, not anything else, stay. But if not, then leave, because God's not gonna. At the same time, He's not gonna want you to keep having your heart broken like that. He's not gonna want you to keep. It diminishes you. Eventually it's gonna crumble you. But
to me, I was always taught love endureth all things, and me growing up in a house to where adultery is prevalent, but my stepdad, or my father that stepped in, he stayed with my mother through it all. One thing for certain, I know I would never put Carl through certain situations, because generational cycles end when you make a decision to break that in your generation. You see what I'm saying? So me going through divorce, but me seeing the damage that it causes to men and child. My biggest thing is I don't want to be the person that ever sets an example or let Jace know that it's okay to do these things. Right. So I'm going to love Carl the way I would want Jace to love his wife, and for him to receive and give the same type of love to her. But to me, after going through the first divorce, and I was young and dumb, sometimes we willing for the wrong reasons, and but sometimes it'll lead you to the right man. And but to me, I would work through it. I mean, I believe that adultery, I believe there's no broken heart that God can't heal. And I believe sometimes you go through certain situations and it makes you come back stronger, because you got to see what caused it. Now, some people are here just straight hoes. I'm just saying, we got to keep it real. Some people can't keep the ink in their pants. That pen is for everybody to write with. We just got to keep it. They're not meant to be married. And I tell them, I say, don't go interrupt somebody's life if you're not ready. Right. Because sometimes people are still maturing, or you don't know who you are until you get some money.
It's bigger than
because you don't know, and I don't want to be men, but sometimes men don't know who they are until you get money or wealth. Because you can a woman can hold you down when you broke. If a woman can hold you down when you broke, a woman can hold you down when you have everything. But sometimes a man will hold a woman down when they have nothing. But then now you have options because you have everything. Can you still love that same person? Who are you when you have what you never had access to? So with us, we've been through the highest. I mean, we done had some six-figure, $500,000 years, and we done slept in our cars and know where our next meal was going to come from. We done had some seasons and some treasons, but we had each other in the midst of it. But it's just like, who are you when you get access to something you never had? Because that's when the door opens for infidelity and adultery and everything else, because you don't know who you are until whatever you were lacking reveals what you've always been.
And for me, it's kind of the opposite.
It's like you got these leeches.
For me, it's kind of
people drive your car, they live in your house. It just
For
don't
me,
know.
it's these downtimes, and on the inverse, it's the downtime that show me that she ride or die.
And I,
She
or,
gonna be there.
or some people are dying.
Or even now, before, because I already know what God has in store for our lives. I already know where we're going. I know I've seen it. I know what God has in store for us.
It's gonna be big.
So I'm asking God right now, while we're at this level, Lord, take all of whatever's in my heart that doesn't need to be, whatever is holding me back, whatever is a yoke around my neck, remove it right now, because I don't want to get there and end up breaking my partner, the one who's been doing life with me, breaking my partner's heart. I don't want to get there and the person who helped me build, who helped me grow, who showed me the sides of me that I did not want to see, but God told her, hey, you need to check him on this. I don't want to get there and she not be there no more. That's and again, breaking curses and all this stuff. But
and me, I've already been through divorce. I come from a family to where it's of broken marriages. So when you desire to break the cycle, I said, God, whenever you give me a child, I want to be the example that was never set for me. Sometimes you're the first. You know, everybody said the first millionaire in your family. I'm like, I want to be the first one to stay married, you know, because marriage is wealth. Because when you go through hell and hot water, you need somebody that's going to be there to help you through those seasons. You can have all the money in the world and be miserable. Now, of course, we want the money and the marriage because there are things we desire to do, and we desire to be a blessing. And we desire for our kids and our kids' kids and our kids' kids to never want for nothing. But at the end of the day, can you still love me if my account overdrawn? You know what I'm saying? Who are you when the power is off? You know? Who are you when we're in the dark? Everybody love you in the light, but when things get real, you know, we done had some candlelight dinners and we wasn't on a date. But hey,
easy
you gonna
love me
now?
if I was down and out?
Would you still
have loved me?
And we loved each other. So yeah, but I think that's the biggest thing. It's just so me, I done slipped up because in prior relationships I've cheated. But just with Carl, I've never even.
Okay, slow down. You talk this what? Slow down. Slow down. You said in prior relationships you have cheated. What made you cheat?
Absence of a mate. Absence will make a heart grow fonder. You don't go looking to slip up and have hiccups. You know, now there are some things we got to get delivered from. So some of us are a little promiscuous with a little fast, gray sweatpants and a fresh fade. And just, no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
No, you ain't playing.
But if you count the adult years, because when we young, I don't think those count. You know, they fine. You fine.
Did she just say she don't think they count? Y'all.
No, we ready to rumble. I was the bumble and he was the bee, and he stung me. But
I am about to fall out of my chair in my studio right now, y'all.
But in a relationship, it was absence. I was always a go-getter. For the longest, I was always a high earner. I was always in places to where I just knew, like, the people always like, you gonna get there. And favor had me in rooms, but the men, they were just crappy. Sometimes you got a man, you know, they ain't beat on me, but they beat themselves. They can take that how they want to. Arm and hammer, strong arms. But so you have it was just problems. And when you
I need something stronger than water behind Crystal.
A real one. Sometimes your mate is absent, and when they're absent, you don't go looking for it. But if you leave your mate to linger and you don't eventually address their needs, sometimes, and when you grow up in environments to where you gotta realize, I grew up to where mama was a Rolling Stone. Where she lay her hat was her home. So it wasn't daddy. Mama knew how to do the body paint and the edible draws. So it was just like, hey, you know, what happens at the job, stay at the job. Work husbands are real. But we're gonna tell these people the truth. Nothing but the truth, so help me God. But anyways, I wasn't looking for it. The one time I slipped up, no, 2 times. I slipped up 2 times. The 2 times I slipped up, oh God, come get me. I wasn't looking for it. It was just, I got tired of fighting. I got tired of crying. I got tired of being disrespected. And when you're a woman and you carrying the weight, the worst thing a man can do is not acknowledge the fact of the weight that's on you. Because a real man will step in and lift that weight off of you, and they'll do all the things that the one at the house ain't doing. You ain't necessarily got to look for it, because you don't necessarily go out there to cheat when you're a good girl or a good guy. You know, it starts with emotion. You have an affair with your heart before you have an affair with your body. But once they got your heart, they already got your body. It's just a matter of where you're going to give it to them. You see what I'm saying? So infidelity is built, or adultery is built up over time. You don't just go, some people are just hoes now, but some people, it's built up over time because you didn't give that person that emotion that they needed. You didn't give these people the attention that they needed, and somebody else eventually will. Somebody will appreciate what you take for granted. Somebody will take your job, somebody will take your man, somebody will take your puppy if you ignore it. It's just what it is. It's the truth. That's how I see it. And when you leave them by themselves, you leave access for somebody to come and take your spot. And when I slipped up, it was just like you get tired of repeating yourself. You get tired of wanting somebody to understand and to see you. And when somebody else sees you and you don't realize that they see you and they just happen to be fine, they smell good, they look good, it was the fresh suits and the fresh fade, man. Sometimes
Let me ask you a question then.
You do something you ain't supposed to do.
I want to make this. Hello, Sister Pharrell just popped on. How are you? Deacon Green, all the way from Virginia, is on tonight. I want to ask a question because I never want somebody to come across this feed, a young person, especially a young man or a young girl. You are not negating your accepting this was your fault, the cheating.
No, because it's your fault. It's a choice. Anything that you do to a mate, married or not, it's a choice. Love is a choice, and when you make a decision, now I'm not saying you can't be worn out. You don't justify because cheating is planned, it's premeditated. You got to at least get to take your clothes off. You got to be able to. It builds up. There's some people that go get intoxicated and things like that, but no, absolutely not. You take ownership. It's like that's how in marriages you're able to work through it. Now we haven't had no issues in our marriage, but back then when I was younger and I also didn't know God like I know God now, because sometimes pain is a powerful teacher if you're willing to learn a lesson. But back then when it's me, myself, but then as you get older and you mature in age. But no, if I could tell my young self, no, you slip up, you make mistakes, you gonna be presented options, and you can say option go home or option go with that man or that woman. You decide what you're going to do. As adults now, 10 years later, because that's 10 years ago on me, but 10 years now, I wouldn't dare because I wouldn't risk losing my answered prayer. I would never risk hurting my answered prayer, and he's everything that I've always prayed for and wanted, and then some. But back then, hearts wonder if you leave people to wonder. And I was in the blind and he was blind. Sometimes a man don't realize they got a good woman until somebody else got him.
I never for me, I've never cheated, but when I was single, if you know what I mean. So
I got two nuts on the podcast tonight, y'all. Look.
When I was single, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing because we don't go together. But when I was in a relationship, my dad left such a mark on my mom, and I would always hear the horror stories. So I knew that I was with the woman, I'm gonna respect her. I'm definitely not gonna put my hands on her. I'm not gonna cheat on her. I had that notion in the back of my mind. There's a certain type of guy that I'm gonna be, a certain type of husband that I'm gonna be, a certain type of father that I'm gonna be. So I always press that. But if we were dating, and again, if I go to God and he say leave, I'm out. I gotta go. I'm gonna say that. But so I never practiced that. And again, because I want to break these curses. I've heard the horror stories from my mom, my grandma, stuff like that. And I said that when I go into marriage, when I step into marriage, I'm gonna give it my all. And here I am. Here we are.
Yeah. And I ain't cheating married. I cheated as a boyfriend.
That was gonna be my. I'm glad you cleared that up.
You get a test drive. You get a test drive. It's like because sometimes you give boyfriends husband privileges
that they don't deserve.
Vice
versa. Sometimes we give girlfriends wife privileges that they don't deserve. We got to quit being so cheap with ourselves. Folks got to earn this. And marriage.
Carl, slow down for the young lady. I'm saying slow down for the young lady that's gonna come across this. And you said stop being so cheap with yourself, because I had a child out of wedlock before I was married, but I told myself I'd never have another child if I never got married. That's just what it was, because it was just too hard being single, trying to go to work and go to college and try to be there for her. and I just felt stretched beyond my capacity. So I waited before I had another child. But all these young women are not taught to keep their legs closed and to honor their bodies, that they are more than enough. So tell a young lady from a man's standpoint why she shouldn't be cheap with herself.
The best, I'll put it like this, it's gonna sound weird. French fries are delicious. Everyone loves French fries. They're hot, they're crispy, they're golden, they're salty. They go good with almost anything as a side.
Yes, Lord.
French fries are great, but a diamond lasts forever. One you can eat, one might even give you a little bit of energy, but that diamond you're gonna keep in the family. That diamond you might pass it down from generation to generation to generation. So, and like I said, there's so many distractions out here. There's so many things out here in this world that are gonna make you believe otherwise. And I know it goes back to you. Well, we don't want man to hold us down, so we're gonna be free with ourselves. I get that. We messed up. We did a lot. Forgive us, so that we can move on to something better. We're on behalf of all men. I'm sorry. We messed up, but now that we all know that we messed up, let's move forward. Now that let's build something better. Like, we see the traps out here, but yet we still keep going for them. We see the traps out here, but we still keep trying to reach in and I find myself now posting so many pictures of my wife, and a lot of people may say that why they're being extra. But we post so much stuff about everything else. Why can't I post the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with? Why can't I try to promote her in more and more ways? Why can't I, if I'm going to flood my timeline with poop emojis and world star fights and mixtape battles, why can't I promote my wife, the woman that I'm going to spend the rest of my life? So you have to, women, you are valued. We love you.
But have either one of y'all ever been tried? Because there's the virgin, might be a woman that's a virgin, and she's never been tried before, and she's kept her virginity, but she may be so ugly nobody don't want to try. But to the woman that's gorgeous and is a virgin, somebody gonna try her. So in your marriage, have either one of y'all ever been tried? Has somebody come at your marriage and you not let them be a distraction?
I think, well, for me, people gonna be people, and men ain't blind, or women, and everybody, you could see a good thing. I think on my side, it was a few that tried. But you tried and failed, and that's how the song goes. Because you gotta understand, it's not, and it doesn't go past I have to block you on Messenger or understand like, hey, I'm married. It won't move past that, because you decide on who you let in your marriage. But in life, especially, like, I think one of the most trying seasons was just going through some struggles. And there are people that make you promise, well, if you was with me, you wouldn't go through. Or they'll try to bait you to try to get you to speak ill against your mate. And one thing you don't do is speak ill regard against the one that holds your heart and that you have a covenant with. Because it's not until you tell people everything that they do wrong to where you give them the ammunition to go so they can tell them everything they'll do right. So it's like, you got to know how to cover your mate. And the problem is, most people will end up under your mate's covers because you uncovered them. And then after a year, they stop doing the very thing that you done gave them a list of what they don't do. So if you wise, you got to understand, you got to know when you start talking to an angel and you're talking to a snake, because snakes don't hiss, they call you sis, and they want to hear about your problem so they can become his problem solver. That's just keeping it real. So no, any time that the few that approached me, even now, it's like, I'm taken. But he is represented so much in my life and everything I have going on. You don't even have to try it. Maybe first 3-4 years into it, because we've been together for 8 years now. So the first years when we were just dealing with heartache and pain and deaths and all that, people will always try to come back, because your past is always looking for you when you're trying to build a future. The past don't show up until you have a future. The past don't show up until they realize they don't have a place in your future. So you got to understand, like, your past is just like some of the clothes in your closet. You don't fit there no more, and they need to be discarded. So you have to be a person of integrity, a person of moral character, a person, because loyalty and love and respect is shown in the absence of your mate, not in the presence. Anybody can be anybody when somebody's around, but who are you? You truly show your mate how much you love them when they're not around you, because your mate can be the laughing stock at the Christmas party, because everybody know that everybody got a taste of your man or your woman while they was there. So it's, if you truly love them, if people know your love is so solid, they'll know not to try you. And for the other ones, you just got to check them. You just got to check them when they do slide. Be like, baby, it's cha-cha slide. You go ahead and slide to the left, slide to the right.
And I'm so laser.
Take it back now, y'all.
I'm so laser focused that
one bop this time.
If they did, I wouldn't know, because of course they have to go through her in order to get to me. And the ones who she's already known, so no, it's more to it than that.
Call them out.
She already has called them out. But to sidebar on what she said, before we stepped into this, I didn't want. Oh my God! I didn't want there to be anywhere in my life going into this marriage to where I can open doors or keep secrets. So there's no codes in my phone. There's no codes in our phone. We share the same. There's nothing in here that I have that she doesn't have access to, because I didn't want it to get to the point to where I can start hiding conversations here. I can start hiding this and that here. She has complete access to everything, and vice versa. Everything that goes on. If I wanted to go through her stuff now, click, we in there. And we do, and for me, well, I know she did that too.
Yeah, we can keep each other's phone for a couple of days. Exactly. We don't have to, because he'll get tired of talking to my clients. But nobody would slide. And if it was somebody that was foolish, we'd be like, oh, we don't know them. Block, delete. But that's because of the respect you give your mate. You open the doors. I believe that God tests, but the enemy tests us. He tests us with the desires of our hearts. So he knows what's going to make you stumble and fumble. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do by your man or your woman, and that's treating them right, loving them right, understanding that they got needs, physical, sexual, emotional, mental, most times they go sleep, they tripping because you ain't fulfilling what you're supposed to do in the kitchen, you ain't fulfilling what you're supposed to do in the bedroom, and you ain't fulfilling what you're supposed to be doing in the church. And
don't get it, this is not a perfect thing. Like, there's going to be, out of 365 days, you're going to be off every now and then. Like, it's not going to be, okay, well, I'm doing this for her. No, as long as somebody is trying, if they're initially trying to love you and to learn you, and you'll know if they're trying, because if you're really trying, what's something you say? The best apology is change behavior. So if you're really trying and you're really trying to love me and really trying to get to know me, you're going to see the changes. And it's not going to keep being excuses and excuses and excuses. You're going to see that, dang, they're going through all this. They really want to be with this person really loves me. They're really not giving up on me. They're really trying to be there to hold my hand. So you're going to see the changes.
But the mere fact that you said that your partner gave enough grace to see that you are trying. That's on both sides.
That's on both sides.
Sometimes we don't give grace. Somebody come out and have a slick up or a hiccup, and we don't want to admit that we help contribute to our partner stumbling. Sometimes we're the reasons why our partners stumble. We're the reasons why our partners fumble. And as soon as they go out there and have a slip or a hiccup, or you see them having a conversation with somebody that talks a little nicer to them, but you don't realize you a whole bad hell on wheels, you cause that problem because you don't know how to communicate. That person feels like they can't open up to themselves. They feel like they can't express themselves. Or you saw that man was bulging when he woke up that morning. Why you let him go to work like that? Fix the problem. Fix it. If you don't fix it, Sally at the job will.
Fix a lot of problems.
Fix the problem.
Lord, help us today.
People have problems. You better be your mate's solution.
Chris is pregnant. We got a baby coming. We got a baby coming. Y'all knew that.
That's just what it is. So, but we don't give grace. Like we don't. We cause problems, and then we get mad when we have problems, and then we don't give them grace and don't want to acknowledge that we created the problem in the first place. Everything ain't the devil. Sometimes it's your decisions. You did that to your mate, and therefore you opened the door for. She ain't even got to be fine.
They try to tell you about it. They try to tell you about it, but you didn't want to listen. And God kept showing you that they was right, but you didn't want to get it. And it's just certain stuff. God's going to talk to you, but are you going to listen?
Your mate will talk to you.
Your mate will talk. God will speak through your mate and tell you, but are you going to listen?
And after a while, people get tired of talking. When they get silent, they talking to somebody else, because your mate never stop talking. They just quit talking to you. And when they can no longer open up themselves and express themselves freely without feeling like they're going to be attacked, or without feeling like they're always wrong, or without feeling some level of compromise, you have compromised your relationship, and therefore you have opened the door and the gateway for whatever's coming through there. And the only thing that can fix that is prayer, sometimes a pill, and being able to go to the altar and have the ability to heal from whatever is going to come from your decisions. Because you wound your mate, somebody else, they go get a quick fix. And you mad they don't went and got a quick fix, but you caused the wound. And we real.
Wow.
Well, my auntie from Atlanta said, fix the problem.
That's right.
And then we want to say hello to Bishop Vincent Charity that is on tonight. Thank you for coming. Y'all have messed up my whole thing. I'm just saying.
Sorry. You put us
say sorry, son. That's right. Say sorry.
At least nobody's crying. Normally, when you start talking to this one, you're going to be crying in the corner somewhere.
Nah, this is a real one. They probably laugh and be like, Crystal is a fool. Because, everybody think I'm so businessy. And they call me Giggles.
I know you're not businessy all the time. I do have another question. Because I hear this back and forward. Some people said it's not necessary for your spouse to be your best friend. How do you feel?
Oh.
It's not necessary for your spouse to be. That must be these are like year one people that are saying that. Because how you not spend time with somebody and not be their best friend? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, what are you married for? How are we not going to do this together and this not be somebody that I can cut up with, somebody that I enjoy being in a car for longer than 8 hours with? Like, this is not.
We've been in this car all day.
They gotta be your best friend. They gotta be your best friend. You're kidding yourself if you're not, or you're really fighting it if it ain't happened yet. I don't know what's going on with you.
I think you got your bestie, and then you got your mate. You have your mate. Your mate is your best friend. I mean, when you first get together, and then all the newness wear off, you can't stand each other, and then you got that one girlfriend or that one, because them guy friends. When you get your husband, you gotta understand the boundaries that come with that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't about to have a male best friend and your man right here, because you got to make sure y'all ain't did some things before. But anyways, it's like when you
finish, we're gonna go back to that what you just said. Wait a minute. If your best friend is a man and you're now married, how do you put a boundary? You and your best friend, he's a guy, y'all been best friends for 20 years. Now you get married. What is the boundary? How does that look? How do you create that?
You establish it from the get-go.
And
you can't, if this is my man, you ain't texting all time of night. If this is my man, you cut it off. Nobody should be texting your phone all time of night if you really respect your household. And that's work, church, family, and everything else. Because they're teared up. There's a time and a place for everything.
And there shouldn't be no secret conversation.
And there shouldn't with a male best friend, because that male best friend has seen you through your highs and your lows. But sometimes that male best friend done shot his shot. And when you done took your picks, you got to establish a level of respect. You got to establish the fact that there's now an us. It ain't just the me. That me that you done flip that M over to where it's so we. Because you determine how other people treat your mate. So if I let somebody text me at 10, 11 o'clock, or you want to do da-da-da-da-da, and you don't acknowledge his presence, we're going to have problems. The problem is when you have the potential of a problem, we don't fix it until it becomes a problem. So before it even gets there, I'm going to go ahead and, hey, I'm with somebody, and I appreciate, but I can't go out with you now because I'm out with him. It don't mean you have to cut everybody off. It just means that you have to establish order in your house. Because if you don't, you're going to have problems. Where there's no order, it's chaos.
And honor your mate, like she said.
And honor your mate.
In a reasonable circumstance, if your husband or your wife is not cool with this friend, trust their instinct in a reasonable circumstance.
But you can't have no insecure mate now, because some people are just jealous. Sometimes people are insecure because of the love that you have with a mate, but they don't understand that person built that. So you can't be my one weaker, my two weaker, and now it's cut everybody else off, because I don't know you and you don't know me. But as love evolves, especially when it's your marriage, it's you establish boundaries. If you establish boundaries, I don't care if it's male, female, because nowadays it's him and him, her, and he and she.
And if they're a real friend and want you to be successful in your marriage, they will expect that. They'll be like, you know what, you're right. Or they would already know. No, I'm not going to. Unless it's an emergency. We can all go out. So, real friends want to see everything that you touch prosper, including your marriage.
And they wouldn't do nothing to disrupt that. They're not going to let somebody control you to the point to where somebody just X's you out and they find out somebody over there beating on you. No, but they're going to respect the boundaries that come with this new established order. People that like chaos don't like order. And sometimes you got to get rid of the chaotic people in your life if you really want to have a future with somebody. Just because they fit into your past don't mean they fit into your future. So that's why people can't stay together nowadays, because they don't establish boundaries. They let everything interrupt and disrupt, and then wonder why you have interruptions at your house. Sometimes you got to learn the word no. The word no will save your marriage.
Okay, we're going to go back to the other question. Should your spouse be your best friend?
Is he my bestie? Oh, this is my ride or die right here. Like, he know everything about me. Yeah. If you can snatch your wig off and they can help take that that dandruff, because them braids up in there too long, he knows. Like, when you hit the door, help take that bra off. Because women, we want to have our mental health break in the car, and as soon as you walk up the stairs, the first thing a woman want to do is let them be free willing. Yes. So unloose that bra, take that wig off. You know what I'm saying? It's your best friend can see you at your worst of worst days. Like, the world gets to see who you are and who you have to be because of your calling or your walk or because of your status or your title. Because, we live in a day of titles now. So, they hang you if you're a priest or whatever else. So your best friend is the person that sees you in your worst of worst, your lowest of low, your brokest of broke, and still love you. You got friends, but as soon as something go wrong, they change up quicker than color clothes and Clorox. That ain't a friend. That's an associate that was connected to you for a motive. But your best friend is the person that they know everything about you and they still love you. And nobody should love you greater. The only person that can love you more than your mate is God. So if there's a best friend, somebody that can earn that title, that's outside of your man or your woman, that means they love you more than your mate, and you got to be able to see how. But your mate knows how to love you better than anybody else except for God. God is the only one that knows how to love you better than your mate, but you know how much you really love your mate by the way that you love God. Because before I do something to him, I ask myself how it's like I'm doing it to God.
And oftentimes,
so that's my bestie.
What I found, to piggyback off of that, oftentimes I found that the way that I love her might indeed be the way that I do love God. Think of the person that you love on this planet the most. Now ask yourself, how do you treat them? Now, do you really think that you're treating them better than you treat God? You know what I mean? Like, if God is a pinnacle, if God is the example, the true example, are you really loving God the best way that you can? And if you know that you're slipping with God, I know that sometimes I must be slipping with her. I got to check that.
Because if you can do it to God, you can do it to anybody. You know what I'm saying? How you love God is how you love your family. How you love God is how you love your mate. How you love God is how you love that unruly person in the grocery store. Because if you truly love him, it don't mean that you ain't going to have some days to where it's a little lit. But if you truly, truly love him and are grounded, you're going to be like, man, you know what? This is his child. No matter how nice or nasty or nicety someone is. So so this my bestie because he done seen me have rock bottom. We ain't reached the top yet.
She done seen me stank.
But he done seen me, breath, ain't nothing like fresh morning breath. Like I said, when you can love him through some, and Carl, because he eat all kind of stuff at night and he wake up in the morning like, hey, and I'm like, ooh.
So she walk in the bathroom right after me.
Yeah.
That's love.
Lord have mercy.
Your best friend, if you never know when they're enabled or disabled, you get in a situation where you can't take care of yourself. Your best friend is the one that can sit there and change you. Your best friend is the person that can, like he was there through my mom's cancer walk with me.
I had COVID.
She
was right there by my side.
We thought he was gonna die from COVID.
I was on the floor.
Couldn't move.
Awful.
Your best friend is the one that's going to pray over you when other people have prayed on you. Your best friend is the person that's going to stand by your side when people have defamed and slandered you. Your best friend is the person that said, you know what? I know you lost everything, but I'm going to help cover you until you can recover. That's a best friend. People don't know about being friends nowadays. So that's why your best friend got to be your mate, because your mate going to see every part of you. The world sees 80% of you. Your mate get the whole package deal.
And the stuff that you don't see.
The whole package.
And that blind spot.
You naked. You came in the world naked, and with your mate, you got to be bare. You got to bear it all. And your best friend is the one that bears it all. You got the others, you got ride or dies, and you got your best friend. This is my best friend, and I got some ride or dies. But it's just like, and even with that, or sometimes they'll die and ride, because you got to understand. Everybody with you don't know who really for you until the world is no longer for you. Everybody with you wants you at the top, but how many people still stand with you when you at the bottom? But sometimes God got to let you hit the bottom so you'll know who can't go with you at the top.
I have a question. Since we're all in ministry, my question is, because there are a lot of women, their husbands don't go to church. And then when they come, they feel like the woman listens to the pastor more than the husband. From Carl, how do you help that woman put it in some semblance of order that that's their husband? But how do we work this?
So I guess if you're trying to get your husband to come to church, and if you have a really good church, really good pastor, your husband is going to see the changes of you going to said church. He's going to see that you're not popping off at him all the time or cussing him out when he makes mistakes. He's going to see that you're giving grace. He's going to see that you've been prosperous because you've been sowing your seed at church like how you should. He's going to see that your demeanor and everything. If you go to a good church and God and the Holy Spirit is really working through you the way that it's supposed to be, you are the billboard. And God is going to see that church is working for you. And I'm praying, I'm speaking right now in Jesus' name, that he's going to see that and he's going to come to church with you. But if you're trying to, or if you're going to, as you're a man, and you're going to a church and you feel like it's more women dominated, or you're hesitant to go to church because you don't want to be led by some other man, again, look at that pastor. See how that pastor is moving. Like you got to live it for a dude. I'm sure you got to live it for a woman too. But sometimes, we get caught up, opposite sex and things like that. You might get distracted. You might be at church for a whole nother reason. But for a man who's truly searching or seeking for his spirituality and wants growth, that pastor, whoever that you're under, whoever that you're getting that word from, that pastor has to live it. They got to really be about that life. And even if when I say live it, I don't mean you're perfect, because you make mistakes. But when you made that mistake, pastor, how did you handle said mistake? Because there are a whole bunch of men watching you and wanting to know, are you going to do it honestly? Are you going to try to cover it up? Are you going to dip out and leave? Because for me, I know I'm a runner, which is why I said if there's a young lady who I don't vibe with, I'm going to leave. I'm going to dip out. If God tells me to go, I'm going to go. So for me to want to just chill and be submitted and be up under God, it takes a real man. We have an awesome pastor, awesome bishop. So yeah, it keeps us there. But it takes a real bishop, a real strong leader, a real honest person, humble person to really guide other men. Because we're going to call the BS how we see it. But if we see somebody actually doing it the right way and really doing it and really about that life, we will stay submitted. We will keep coming to church. If we see somebody who's really living what they're saying, and there's a lot of folks out here who's not living what they're saying. Living it. That's why a lot of men are hesitant. That's why there's a lot of confusion in the church. A lot of people it's sad to say, don't even believe the Bible, because they feel like they already know what man has done and what man is capable of. But if you have one example, one primary example of some pastor, somebody, you don't got to be a pastor. If you just go to a great church and you're still trying your best, just continue to be that example. We got to we got to see it. Go ahead.
Now, Crystal, you talk from the woman's perspective. She really wants her husband to come to church, but he feels like she listens more to her pastor.
Well, the truth is, sometimes the man right. I mean, sometimes I'm just saying. I keep it real. Sometimes, as women, we don't give the grace at home, and we have more respect for authority figures and people outside of our home versus the man at home, because we judge them because they're not in the church. We judge them because sometimes we feel like we're more holier than thou, or that we know what's what and who's what because they're not in the church. And sometimes the people that's not in the church are closer to God than those that's in the church. You know what I'm saying? Because as women, sometimes you're there for the wrong reasons. But for the good women that want their husband to come to church, and they know that they're taking care of home, because every man isn't insecure. Sometimes that man can say the very same thing that the pastor said, but because he's not the pastor, you listen to the pastor, and he gonna feel disrespected, and he ain't gonna want to come because he gonna feel like, nowadays you got something going on, or he's gonna feel like he doesn't have any type of authority in his house, and family is your first ministry. People get that twisted. Family is your first ministry. I'm not saying your husband knows everything, because he puts a shepherd over your life, but he gives you a husband to be able to maintain the life that y'all are living together. So if you put a man in a situation to where he feels like he has to choose, you have to ask yourself, if that's a secure, grounded man, why does he feel like he can't feel comfortable enough to come? And if you honestly have been unruly, disrespectful, defiant, non-negotiable, you know what I'm saying, then you created that divide. But if you have it to where you're coming home and you're transforming, and that pastor is not imposing, because some people don't care about your house. They care about you taking care of the big house. Even if your house is falling apart, then y'all may need to move and go to a whole nother church. But if you have a pastor that's respectful, loving, and big on family and things like that, then all you can do is be the example and be the reason for them to understand that not all pastors are the same, because we have bad stigmas nowadays with the church, and some people would rather not come because they feel like, the church is controlling. They feel like church is a cult. They feel like all of these things. But the truth of the matter is, they need that same God when somebody's dying from cancer. So I would say, as a woman, don't put your husband or your mate in a situation to where they have felt. Make sure you didn't create that first, because sometimes that man ain't coming because he feels like they like that person's, your pastor's, holds more weight. They hold your heart, but the pastor has your ear, and it has to blend. You both have to eventually love that pastor. A house divided can't stand. But you got to take care of home first before you can go take care of the house.
And as she said, family is your
family.
First ministry.
But if your family neglected, he ain't coming.
God, family, church.
Yeah.
That's what.
So you make sure it's inclusive.
That's God, family. If they don't see it before y'all see it, something wrong. They should see it before y'all see it.
And you can talk to God.
I spend more time with them my whole life.
Right. You can talk to God at the house. You know what I'm saying? God, if you truly know God, like God, you don't necessarily have to be in the church itself. You could be the representation of God at your house, God at your job, all of these things. God will have a true conversation with you if you know how to, send some emails. You know how to send emails, but you gotta learn how to send some emails. But then if your mate can see you evolving, or your mate is big on family, they'll eventually come. You pray for your mate. You pray for your mate, and you pray against those that prey on your mate. And you don't put him in a compromising situation. But if he feel like you don't listen to him, and everything is the pastor, he's going to eventually. Now, I'm not saying all men are. Some men, you're just not equally yoked. Some men ain't trying to get with God.
Sometimes they're wrong.
Make
sure you hear from.
I'm talking about if you got the right mate, a solid guy, and sometimes we planted that seed of discord because we weren't on one accord. You see what I'm saying? So if he says something and it aligns, what he says should align with what the pastor is saying. Right. Or if we're both growing, right, sometimes the word gonna cut us both, and we gotta realign ourselves. We both have to be willing to be submitted and to be shepherd, but you also have to have a good shepherd, because you could buy, you got storefront churches, and you can buy these titles nowadays. So everybody that's up there in that pulpit wasn't called. Somebody called them. God didn't. But but when you're in a solid house, like we're in a solid house, and we know, like, hey, you know what? He big on family. I mean, you can see the sacrifice. So it's not hard to follow a man that's the example. And a true man or a woman will humble themselves. I will never make compromise. Now there's been some days where I'm like, nah, that didn't align. But I don't argue with my flesh. I argue with the word.
But you said something that's really important. I'm glad you touched it. Sometimes what comes to each other. Nobody likes being told anything about themselves. No, period. I don't care who you are. But if I'm truly up under God the way that I am, some of the things that I should be saying, she should be hearing it from God, from our pastor. If I'm truly in my word the way that I should be, she should be hearing it from our pastor every night, and vice versa. If she's truly not, she'd be, okay, I need to listen to my wife, because obviously she's with God as well. If everything that she just told me on this car ride here was exactly what we heard in church. Let me out of context, but yeah, and vice versa. It happens the other way too. So yeah, if it's really, again, it comes down to
if it's God.
If it's God.
If you get in your word and you stay in prayer, because sometimes you can't talk to your mate, you can't talk to your pastor. Sometimes you go to God, because sometimes you in your feelings, you in your emotions, and you got to be able to just be willing to receive. You got to be willing to submit to your leader and understand that you got to follow them as they follow God, and nobody's perfect. And you got to be willing to submit to your mate and be able to follow them as they follow God. Now, and you got to know what God they're following, because some mates will lead you straight to hell. And if you chose to follow them, you're going to go where they go, Because there's sometimes we so caught up and we in love and we don't understand that they loving us straight to hell. But when you truly,
good.
Everything else good, you be blinded, waist down kind of relationships. But outside of that, if you submit and just honestly just want a humble, genuine life, and you don't want to be uncovered, You want your mate to cover you, and you want a leader that's gonna cover you. And those two should come together. And wherever we can't communicate, we should be able to get it in church and bring it as another building block, another brick. When we go to church on Sunday, we go to church on Wednesdays because we need another brick to help us make it through to the next.
I guess that's the last question I want to ask about the covering of the spouse. How do y'all cover each other?
Whew.
You go first.
For me, listening to her, and I know that's she talks a lot. She's her gift is in this beautiful mouth with these beautiful lips. Her gift.
Wait till y'all get off.
Her gift is in her mouth, and she says a lot to everybody, and that's a part of her calling. But one thing I found in my life, my wife really needs some time for someone to sit and just listen to her and let her get everything out, because there's so much going on in here for her. It'll be a weight. And if she doesn't have somebody who's truly listening and that's what probably led me into her heart, is listening to her ride to work. If she doesn't have somebody to stop and truly listen to her so she can get everything out, the other emotions that somebody else might have put on her because she might have had a ministry session and somebody started breaking down about their past, if she doesn't have somebody to help her out with the businesses that she might be managing, and the other employees that we have up under us that are bickering back and forth with her family, with Jace, everything that's coalesced inside that beautiful little mind of her, that she doesn't find somebody that truly that lets her let it out, she will begin to deteriorate. And she's a superwoman. She can do anything. So I try to cover her in that aspect by just listening to her, and always have her best interests. There's no jealousy here. Like, if there was a talent situation, she has 10 talents. I might have 1, 2, or 3. We don't know yet, but there's no jealousy here. I want her to win. When she wins, we win. It's not she outdoing me. No. There's certain things in her life that God is blessing her with that I don't want nothing to do with. I don't want nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with me. But that's what she loves to do. And if there's anything that I can do to help build her up and help her get there, I'm going to do it. And sometimes it might be washing some dishes or doing laundry while she goes out here and kicks the world's butt. Sometimes it's not. We're getting to the point to now where we have to let go of some of these gender roles, because it's one, as Black men, they don't want to see us shine. So things are getting more and more limited for us. So you have to be able to pivot and get you a good one who's going to help you build your dreams. A wise man once told me that this womb is not just for babies. It is for your dreams. It is for your goals. It is for your family. It is for the bloodline or the legacy that you plan to leave on this earth. And whatever seed that I give to my wife, she is going to help me flourish, blossom, bloom. So I got to take care of the soil. I got to take care of this tree. I got to take care of her. And that's as the man that I am, he made me a nurturer naturally. That's what I'm going to do. So
I love you, Carl.
Me, I don't uncover my mate, because sometimes it's in your worst situation. You got to know who you can talk to. But it's in your low. Sometimes people wait till their mate get to the lowest of lows and they uncover them, and then you got to go back and cover them. You can't come out here and air out all their dirty laundry, all their mistakes, all their falls, all their slip-ups and their hiccups. You can't bash them and trash them and treat them like a garbage can, and then get mad when you got to come back and clean up what you disposed. So I believe you cover your mate by doing just that. You cover. Love covers all things. So it's like, I got you. No one else should know more of your business. When the world know your business and the world know your mate, is because you gave the world your mate and the world their business. So you cover your mate through the highs and the lows. You don't come out here and bash him and trash him and know we in love. No, it's complicated. No, so my thing is, I believe in confidentiality. I believe in integrity. I believe in loyalty. And loyalty means I love you at your highs and your lows. I believe in, I'm not going to make him choose between family and things like that. We're going to compromise. But if you're really going to cover your mate, I believe that the worst thing we do is that we air out or we expose our mate, and then we get mad
as soon as you're mad
that the world breaks them.
So if
all it takes is for me to be upset, for me to come bash you and trash you and try to destroy you in that moment, and then an hour later I love you, that ain't it. You done broke your man. We got to stop breaking our men.
And
it don't mean that we don't have a keep it 100, keep it real kind of type conversations, but that's in our house. What happens in our house stays in our house, and if we can't go to there, we go to God, and then if we can't get it from there, we go to our pastor.
Because sex don't solve all the problems.
Sex don't solve.
I wasn't gonna say it, but sex don't solve all the problems.
No.
And you think that you could just one thing that the woman has to understand in the household is whatever y'all say to a man that really loves you, we're going to take it to heart. We might not care about nothing else that goes on in this world for nobody, because we a man. It don't matter what anybody else say. But my wife, my queen, if she tells me something, and if you don't say it in the right way, ladies, if you don't, it could be detrimental to us. It's never what you say. It's always how you say it. And if she told me right now, baby, I think you can go build a shed. Guess where I'm at? I'm
going to build a shed.
Because you break your mate or you build your mate. So you can't be the person that destroys them at home and wonder why everything else around them isn't flourishing. Are you planting the seeds and watering and tilling the land that's over here? It's a mutual investment in one another. But if I uncover you, I have to go back and clean up what I did in my women. We lack emotional temperament and stability. It don't mean we can't have a conversation, but it's what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in your house stays in your house. If everybody know your house, then you have a problem. Because only you, him, and the kids live there.
And only one of us likes to talk.
You can't take your house to the streets and get mad at the streets in your house. You know? So I think that out of everything, cover your mate. Cover your mate.
Carl, Deacon Green said thank you.
Thank you, brother. It ain't me. It's God in life. That's
I think that's the next question.
And I'm sorry. My barber is giving me the wave, and he's been so patient.
Well, let him go wave. I just want to I'll let Crystal finish us up.
Okay. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Love you, Carl.
Yes, I love you. Got it, baby. This is good. Oh, yeah. I need a table.
Carl said I need my haircut for tomorrow. I need a Jamaican beef patty, too. Go over there. Oh.
The baby is talking. The baby is talking.
Well, no, I've been eating the whole ride now. I've been eating a ride.
Well, Crystal, we're at the end of the podcast, and every time I have one of these with the couple, and you're one of my children, so you know what my heart desire is, but I write a letter to my future spouse.
Wow.
So, and I don't think you've ever heard one of my letters. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear it today. And I want to say this at the end of the month, y'all, I'm going to a singles conference. It's called Finding My Wife in Myrtle Beach. Know that my husband is in the room. I'm manifesting him now.
That's right.
So to my future spouse. And what I do with these letters, I'm putting all of them away. And when he appears and God brings him, and they're all dated, I'm going to give him all the letters so he knows how I've been waiting for him when he comes. So here's my letter. It is called Dear Future Hubby. And I don't have my spectacles on, so y'all pray for me. It says, Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait to have my daily phone call from you. Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait to have our first dinner date. Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait for our first Netflix and chill night. Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait for our first weekend trip. Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait for our first heated fellowship. Dear Future Hubby, Dear Future Hubby, my dream and my reality is of you. Dear Future Hubby, I can't wait for our first deep conversation that we'll have to help us grow closer together. Hopefully, it won't be too long. Dear Future Hubby, but until then, and until God brings you to my life, I say good night to my dear future hubby.
Oh.
No crying, Crystal.
It was the heated fellowship for me.
Yes. Because I'm looking for all of everything in this last relationship. Hello, Brother Rodney Powell. Hello, Mother Francine. Thank y'all for popping on. my last relationship, I believe this is going to be the last. And I say when I'm in my prayer hour for my spouse, if I pass before him, that is the last face I want to see when I close my eyes and rest before I meet the Lord.
Oh.
So that's how endearing. And because my past marriages didn't work, I know marriage is still good. And I just believe that my heart, and I'm not going to cry, that my heart desire, I think God's going to feel it.
Amen.
And if God doesn't do it, he will make me feel all of that stuff that I feel. It'll go away and I'll be satisfied. So now I'm not in God's way anymore. I'm waiting for him to do it. I'm just waiting for him to do it. Crystal, we're going to let you have the closing words tonight. And it's going to be to a young couple that's struggling.
Okay.
Not financially, but a young couple that's struggling. Give them a few words of advice to help them not give up.
If I was it gets better. I think for every couple, young or old, but definitely the fresh ones, it gets better. You got to be able to ride the wave, and every day ain't gonna be a good day, but every day is a God day. And just know that it gets better. Understand that you have a future together. Truly, God only knows that future, but the plans that He has for us is to prosper us and not to harm us. And there's an expected end. And if you just gotta be willing to build with your mate, love your mate, endure with your mate, and understand that God gave you one mate, and that wasn't somebody else's mate. You know, understand that love is a choice. Divorce isn't an option, and know why. Understand why you got with them in the first place, and revisit those places and see how you can love them better. I always try my hardest to say learn how you can love better, how you can communicate better, how you can listen better, how you can be more understanding, be more compromising, because you can always do it better. And I try my hardest. I always try my hardest. I probably like every Saturday I go back and I look at where I slipped up. I look at where I fell, whether it was because sometimes we fall and sometimes we fail. And I'd be like, how can I handle this better the next time? And you're not perfect. I would tell a young couple that don't try to be perfect. Just try to be better than what you were yesterday. And when you see your mate, ask yourself, would I treat God this way? And I think that's what really brings me from 100 to 0, because I can go from 0 to 100. But I would tell the mate, stick that thing out, because the grass ain't always green on the other side. It's green where you water it, and the grass ain't always green on the other side. Sometimes it's purchased. We got storefront relationships now. It looks picture perfect, but you can put the crazy thing about a picture frame is that you can put whatever picture that you want in it to paint that representation. And Facebook ain't nothing but a book of many faces, and we can create that. So your house is your house. Your house ain't your family's. Your marriage ain't your parents. Build a legacy with your lover. Remember to love them in all ways they desire to be loved, and understand that y'all may not have the same love language. And at the end of the day, pray for them. When you can't reach them, God can. You ain't gotta fight. You ain't gotta nag. You ain't gotta beat them up. You ain't gotta do none of that. Talk to God, and God will talk to them. Yeah, that's what I tell them. But don't give up, because anything worth having won't come easy, because anything that comes easy ain't worth having. That's what I tell them.
Tell my grandson he was trying to peek in the car. I love him.
Jace.
Jace want to get in and say hi to his granny.
Hold on. Jace.
You too pregnant to reach over.
Yeah, God done blessed us with this new car. Say hey.
Hey, Sugar Man, how are you?
Don't knock it down.
Hey, Miss Claudette.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Oh, my Lord. Yes, we're ready to get off, but I love y'all. Tell my son Carl I said thank you, and y'all have a safe trip. EJ says hi.
Hey,
we love y'all.
Can I see him?
And look, the whole family is trying to come on to see Jace. And they're saying, wait. Hurry. Look.
Hi, Jace. You look so handsome with your haircut. Hey. When are you coming to see me?
Summer camp.
Okay, we are on live and we're going
Love
to.
you. Bye.
I love y'all.
We love you too, Ma.
Love y'all. Y'all
Thank you
be
for having
safe.
us.
You
Yes, ma'am.
welcome. Good night, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. And everybody have a great Mother's Day. Give your mama a kiss for Mother's Day, Jason.
Happy
Yes.
Mother's Day.
Ooh! All
Good
right, Ma, we love you.
night. Good night.